Hello, in this video we'll be looking at the Dhammapada, chapter 8, verse 4, verse 103 in the consecutive numbering. Yo sahasang sahasena sangame manuse jine ekancha jayamattanang save sangama juttamo. Now I will bring up the text for you. Here we are. Yo sahasang sahasena sangame manuse jine ekancha jayamattanang save sangama juttamo. So, your relative pronoun, who, but it very often means whoever. Just as English, we could say, who does this, or whoever does this. More common in colloquial English to say whoever, but in Pali it's both just you. So yo jine. This is an optative. It means will defeat or conquer. It's the optative form here rather than the straight indicative form. The optative is used because we aren't talking about a particular person doing a particular thing. We're talking about what would be expected generally to happen rather than talking about a specific instance of it happening. And therefore, in Pali, as in Sanskrit, it's very common to see the optative form used here. Just as in English, we might say whoever conquers or whoever might conquer. That gives it a more indefinite meaning. We're expressing a general statement about what might be expected to happen, rather than talking about a particular person doing a particular thing. So whoever yojine, whoever might conquer, manuse, humans in battle. So whoever might conquer humans. It's this manuse. It's from the name, the legendary first human being, Manus, and in Sanskrit, a descendant or one of Manus, something relating to Manus, is a Manusha. Let me call up my. So the name of the. Oops, it's funny. I couldn't get my page centered. Here we are. So the name of the legendary figure. Oops. It says that it's either Manu or Manus. Manus now, with the addition of the S as part of the stem. So we get the laws of Manu, for example, but it's from the alternative form of the name, Manus, and they both exist, that we get the derivative noun Manusha. This is in Sanskrit, meaning a descendant of Manus, a Manusha. And of course, in Sanskrit, with the U preceding a S becomes a Sh. And it's that in Pali becomes a Manusa, which is basically a Manusian, a descendant of Manus, so the Manusa. So, Yojine Manuse, whoever defeats humans, meaning other people, other humans, Sangame, in battle. In Sanskrit, it is Sangrama. This word grama Pali Gama. You will most often see that meaning a village. And the reason it means a village is it means a grouping. There's the root grah, also grab. This very ancient root has different forms. Cognate with our English word grab, it's the same word. It means and cognate with the word group as well. Group and grab are from that same root. It's a grouping. It's a putting together of things, and that's what a village is. Think of it. A village is the grouping together of people dwelling in one place for mutual support and protection. So the sangrama is the grouping together, the collection, and then by extension, it can mean a battle. Because when you kind of gather together, but in hostility, two groupings of people against each other, that makes the sangrama, the battle. So whoever defeats how many men? Sahasena, 1,000 by 1,000. We use exactly the same idiom in English. And we can say 1,000 by 1,000, meaning multiplied by 1,000. And that's the idiom that's used here in Pali. The Sahasena, the instrumental, 1,000 by 1,000 means 1,000,000. 1,000 multiplied by 1,000. And in Pali and Sanskrit, when you're talking about 1,000, you use the singular neuter noun, sahasang, Sanskrit sahasram, with the noun in the plural, exactly as in English. We talk about 1,000 people in the plural, 1,000 singular noun, people, we put our noun in the plural. Sanskrit and Pali do exactly the same. So sahasang manusa would mean 1,000 people. In the accusative, sahasam manuse, and 1,000 times 1,000 people in the accusative would be sahasang sahasena manuse. So whoever in battle, sangame, jine, might defeat, might conquer, sahasang sahasena, 1,000 by 1,000, 1,000 times 1,000, manuse, people. Now, that first line is syntactically isolated from the rest of the sentence. So the syntax here is a bit loose. It's like, whoever might in battle defeat 1,000 people, ... just introducing your topic. Ekancha jayamatanam save sangamajuttamo. So he who defeats just one thing, namely his own self, Sangamajuttamo, is the best of those who conquer in battle. I'll explain that in detail. Save, the subject. Let's look at the second line in isolation now. Sa, ve, he, verily, or indeed. This ve is an emphatic particle here. So he is the one who is the what? The Sangamajuttamo. Uttama, cognate. Let me talk all the text up again. On text. So get rid of my. I'm just trying to minimize my screenshot out of them. So I'm trying to minimize my screenshot out of the way for you. There we are. My mugshot, I should say. So I'm not having much luck in getting this right today. Sorry, I'll pause. Here we are. So, ekancha jayamattanang save sangama juttamo. In the first line, we have the optative of the verb ji, to conquer, jine, and in the second line, we have jaya. Okay, I'm going to put a hyphen here. Oops. The actual verb itself is not jayam, but jaya, and the M is euphonically inserted to avoid the hiatus. Jaya attanam, it would, in normal prose, would be Jaya attanam. He might conquer his self. The M is the euphonic insertion. So, ekancha jayam attanam. Jine and Jaya are alternative forms. They're both optative forms of this G, to conquer. There's a little bit more about that I'll tell you in a moment. So, literally, Jaya ekan attanam. Literally, he might conquer one self. This is an abbreviated way of saying if he conquers just one thing, namely himself. That's the meaning of it here. Not just conquers oneself, conquers just one thing, namely just himself. So, and literal, ekan cha attanam, literally, and oneself, jaya, he might conquer. Save, he verily, he is the one who is what? Sangama juttamo. Sangama, our same word, battle that we've had in the first line. Uttama, the best, the unsurpassed, the utmost. This preposition and verbal prefix ut, cognate with our English word out, also means up, but it's cognate with our word out. And uttama is directly linguistically, grammatically cognate with our word utmost. We have out, we have utter, as in the utter darkness, the outer, the utter, the further beyond, which is uttara in Sanskrit and Pali, and the most outer or utmost is the uttama, same in Sanskrit and Pali. And where we have the word, for example, anuttaro, purisa dhammasarati satta, and so on, anuttaro, unouted, than which there is nothing beyond it, therefore unsurpassed. Ne plus ultra, nothing more beyond that. But the uttama, the utmost, like is in supreme. So Sangama Juttamo. So this j, just highlighted here, this is an abbreviated form of the root used as part of the compound noun. Sangama ji uttamo. Sangama ji, battle winning, one who conquers in battle. Note that you can, with most roots of the language, use the root alone as the final member of a compound. Here, the root is G. It is a general rule of Sanskrit grammar. I've made a note of it I think I've made a note of it in the notes to this one. Yeah, I have. It's at the very, very end of the notes. That where a root ends in a short I or U or R, then when it forms the final member of a compound, it just adds a T to it It has no grammatical function, it's just how it's done. For example, let's look at a word that's used as a name, actually. Satya, looking at Sanskrit now. Truth conquering, one who conquers by truth. Because it ends in a short I, now it's at the end of a compound, making part of a noun or an adjective, it is satyajit. Satyajit, truth conquering, one who conquers by truth. That rule does not apply in Pali, so the Pali equivalent would be satyaji. One who conquers in battle, in Sanskrit, it would be sangramajit, battle conquering, one who conquers in battle. And so in Pali, we have sangamaji. Now what's happened here is the final in this compound word sangamaji uttamo, the E of the G has dropped out by Sandhi, the rather fluid Pali Sandhi. And that is how we get from Sangama Ji Uttamo, Sangama Juttamo, battle conquering utmost or best. There's a bit of history to these two forms. In the first line, Jine, he might conquer. In the second line, Jaya, he might conquer. In Sanskrit, in Vedic, I should say, there are two entirely separate roots. There's the one regularly meaning to conquer, Jayati, also Atmanepada, Jayate, and there is the root Jya. Oops, sorry, I don't know why this is happening. So I don't know what to do. Sorry, I've missed out a bit of what I was. Oh well. Sorry about that. So Jia, which is more to let me call up. Jia. So to overpower or to deprive somebody of his property and so on. And it may originally have been part of the same root. Very, very difficult to tell. But it's a class 9 verb. So jia, and instead of making, if it were a regular class 9 verb, it would be jia, jianati, but the jia is softened to ji. So jinati. So you get jayati and jinati with a kind of overlap in meaning, but from two separate roots. Now, what's happened in Pali, and in Sanskrit, they're maintained separate. They're separate verbs, separate roots. Jayati, class 1, jinati, class 9. In Pali, they've come to become merged into one. So that's why you can Pali, you can say jayati or jeti or jinati, and they are treated as being variant forms of the same verb. So this distinction that Sanskrit had has been blurred over in Pali. And in Pali, then you can get, so from jinati, the optative form jine or jayati. You'd expect to see jayaya, but it's softened to jaya. And that accounts for the jine and jaya meaning exactly the same thing within the same verse. As I said, this m at the end of jaya is, let me find my text again. Oh yeah, This m at the end of Jaya is there for purely euphonic purposes. It serves no other purpose at all. So I'll read it through once more. Yo sahasang sahasena sangame manuse jine ekancha jayamattanang save sangama juttamo. Whoever your jine might conquer, sahasang sahasena, 1,000 by 1,000, 1,000 times 1,000, manuse, accusative plural, humans, sangame, in battle, ekancha jayamattanang, if he conquers, jaya, ekan attanam, literally oneself, meaning nothing but himself. If he conquers only one thing, namely himself, ekancha jayamattanam save, he indeed, he is the one who is save, sangama juttamo, the utmost, the top, the best of the battle winners, those who win battles or those who conquer in battle. So read once more. Yo sahasang sahasena sangame manuse jine ekancha jayamattanang save sangama juttamo. And that's it for this video.